welcome to Third Eye Champagne. I am Kirsten Langston, author and intuitive. Today, we are talking to Tarot Down Under, Lena Rodriguez. I am excited, so let's get to it. So you guys, I'm so excited about this. I have with me today via Skype Ms. Lena Rodriguez. So for those of you who don't know, Lena reads tarot. Her channel is called Tarot Down Under, and she is reading on all things shit show in America is basically what she does. I found out about her channel through a bunch of people who were saying, oh my god, this lady shouted you out. This lady shouted you out on YouTube. So I go and I check this lady out, and I was like, holy shit. I can't watch other psychics if they're reading on the same stuff I'm reading on because I don't want to be influenced by them. So I can't. However, I did watch the very first video, which was the Trump family Christmas tarot reading, which was fucking out of this world. I love the way she reads the cards. I love the way she just does everything. So here she is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Lena Rodriguez.
Hi trendsetters, here I am. I am so excited to be on Third Eye Champagne. I can't tell you. I am here with the goddess.
Oh God, stop.
With the magnificent Kirsten. So thanks for organising this, Kirsten.
I revisited your Trump family Christmas video today, and number one, I want to say I love the way you read cards. I love the way you read the cards. You explain everything. You talk about all the symbolism. In that video, you were using the Smith Rider-Waite, which is pretty much the only deck I use. But there you were saying stuff that I've never even heard of. Like there were so much insight for me as a card reader that, you know, I just never thought about something that way, or the way you were using some of the symbolism. I'd never heard about it that way. So that was amazing.
Oh, that's a wow to hear too. And I think what happens too, don't you find that you do put your own stamp on the cards?
Yeah.
You know, the Rider-Waite's used by everybody plus some other ones, but you do, as you get more confident and into it, you do give it more of your own spin, you know.
Yeah, totally.
The cards speak to you differently. Yeah.
Totally. I just think that the way that you did it, like, I could picture these people sitting around. For some reason, I had them in like a dark and stormy castle. Don't ask me why, but I had them sitting in this dark and stormy castle on Christmas Eve, like, you know, talking about how, you know, we're gonna dominate the world. And you gave me a whole story in my head. If you have not checked it out, yes, check out her entire channel. Yes, check out every single one of her, I think it's like 180 something videos, yeah?
Yeah, I can't believe it's so missed all of a sudden. Yeah.
Okay, so I have questions, girl. I got questions here. Tell me about you. Like, tell me about you. Where did you grow up? How did you get where you are? Tell me.
Well, I grew up in a place called Queensland in Australia, and it's called the Deep North. So it's like the Deep South of the states, right? So Australia has a couple of progressive states, and it has frontier states. And when I grew up there, let me tell you, it was a redneck backwater. Ooh. You know, it was still actually segregated. That's how behind the door it was. Oh. Okay, so black kids couldn't swim in the local public swimming pool. There was, if you went to a football match, there was the black side of the ground and the white side of the ground. All this shit went on. Yeah. And it wasn't until 1967 that Australia had a referendum of white voters to say whether black people could vote, who were in fact human beings. I mean, it's disgusting, and people forget that, and it's moved on. It's moved on a lot, just as Texas has moved on. But, you know, when you scratch the surface, when you've had that deep stuff for so long. Like, for example, black people couldn't just walk into a hotel and have lunch, right? In the 60s, they had to buy their drinks from what was called the dog box out the back. I mean, it was not a fun place, and so it was the same for gay people and everything else. It was very repressive, you know. So as a kid, I remember counting down the days till I could leave school and leave the state. Wow. You know? So I just left the country then for a while. But, you know, Queensland is moving on. But years later, when I went to Texas, it was still in the 70s or something, I thought, oh my God, this is why we call Queensland the Deep North. I could really feel the similarities between those two places.
Really?
But I do believe Texas is now more diverse and tolerant than it was 30 or 40 years ago when I was there. You know?
Yeah. Shit, I hope so, girl.
And I think that's what's something about the whole Trump thing. And Obama said this only recently. He hasn't invented it, you know, right. He's just made it more obvious.
Yeah.
And racism in America, like anywhere else, the ugly underbelly, once it's revealed, at least allows a conversation.
Yes.
Black Lives Matter is so important. But also no one still is talking about the Native American situation.
Agreed.
You know. And the Aboriginal situation here in Australia has a lot of parallels with that story too, of the kids being taken and put into boarding schools and fostered out to white families. Oh, yeah. And lots of stuff too. So losing land, losing language, losing culture. And I'm still not hearing that conversation from the US.
Completely agree with you. I follow this fabulous woman on Twitter, and her name, I'm going to forget her name. I think it's Ruth Hopkins. If that is not the girl's name, I will put the real name down here. But she's a Native woman, and she talks about how the kids were taken, and you know, they were made to cut their hair. They're still making some of these kids cut their hair.
So I just wanted to say here and now that, look, in any way, if I can support any of those struggles in any way at all, as someone from the other side of the world, please get in touch with me, you know, because it's so important, you know.
I fully agree with you. I completely agree with you. Guys, I'm going to have all of Lena's information. It will be on the end screen at the end of the video. It will be down in my box. I'm not going to make the box joke, maybe later, but it'll be down in the description box, and I will have everything at the end of the video so you guys can find her, you can contact her. Which brings me to this. Do you do private readings?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So the email is on the videos. Yeah.
Okay.
It's really hard to do the time conversions. Dave Johnson has the same problem, of course, where, you know, 17 hours ahead of California, and now we're coming up for daylight saving, and we're both going, can you do the maths? No, can you do the maths? But yes.
Okay, so she is available for private readings?
Oh, that's the other thing that's so exciting. I've started doing past life readings, which I have for decades, and they are such a buzz.
Okay, so I want to ask, well, I'm going to get into that. I want to ask you, do you consider yourself tarot reader period, or tarot reader psychic, or tarot reader psychic medium, or I mean, what are the titles we're bestowing upon you?
I think I have to sort of grab intuitive from your channel.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I can see why you got there, you know, because I'm what they call clairaudio, you know. I hear stuff. I don't have the visions that Linda G or Dave has. But also I do just get flashes, you know, of things. And so I think that is intuitive, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's hard. I'm not dodging a box. There's the box joke again. But it is hard to nail it down, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, there's something else going on apart from the tarot, and particularly in private readings.
Okay, people like to know, because some people, and people get confused. A lot of people think that you have to be psychic to read tarot cards. In my opinion, I don't think you do.
No.
A lot of people think that a psychic and a medium are the same thing, and they are not.
No.
You know, so I like to make it clear. Okay, so this is what Lena does. She's an intuitive. She's a tarot card reader. Do you talk to the dead people?
No, I wouldn't say I talk to the other side. Yeah. What happens for me with past life readings is a story will unfold, just a total story.
Oh, I love that.
And then I work with a pendulum and other things to narrow down a country, a place, an ethnicity, a time, and it can come right down to, you know, a 10-year block 500 years ago. It's like everything too. The more you do it, the better at it you get. So now I've started doing them again. I'm getting some really amazing stuff for people in their past lives.
Oh, wow.
You know, and you might have found this too, but some people come and they've always had an inkling of something.
Oh, yes.
And others, not a clue. They're just starting from scratch. It doesn't matter. For the actual reading, it really doesn't matter.
So you're not regressing people. They just come to you and you're like, all right, here you go.
No, and I'm not a channeler.
Right.
You know, like, so I don't get that life talking through me to them.
Right.
I get an image and a story of that life.
Oh my God.
And how it impacts this life.
That is so fucking cool. I'm booking one of those. I'm hands down booking one of those with you. Is being an intuitive your profession? Like you were doing this for a job, or this was like, this is a hobby, and then you said, I'm going to go on YouTube with it. How did that work?
Yeah, well, it certainly wasn't my job, you know. I was an academic, or still am, but as a casual academic, we don't get paid for 4 months of the year, and it's really hard to make ends meet, and you do a lot of work, and but years ago, decades ago, I started doing tarot readings along with a bit of amateur astrology. So that's when I did a lot more work on the cards, but I wasn't reading for people, you know, but I did learn more, and then I parked it for another 25 years or so.
Yep.
And then you, my darling, it's because of you I got a YouTube channel.
That's amazing.
And I was watching 4 or 5 readers, and they were all great, but you just so stood out to me, your humour and your warmth and your talent. And I just thought, I want to be part of this.
Yay!
This community, the Kirsten community.
I love it. I love it. You're real consistent. 180 videos is a lot.
It is. And I don't know how it happened. I truly don't know how it happened. It's like I blinked and now 180 videos in.
Right.
But as you know, it's such a rich vein, this topic.
Yeah.
You know, it's theatre, it's politics, it's hugely important, it's fun, it's horrendous, it's this emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, it's fully Shakespearean. It's fully Shakespearean what's going on. Like,
yeah, it's like we're witnessing Shakespeare or ancient Rome or something. We're in living history.
How do you think, and you can answer this in a woo-woo way, you can answer it in a political way, whatever way you want, but how do you think Trump got where he is?
I just think it was a freak confluence of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if any of the pieces of the puzzle hadn't been there, he would never have got up. And in another moment in time, it wouldn't have happened. If Hillary wasn't so unpopular, I mean, massively, just like, you know, it was a love-hate thing with the Hillary thing. If Russia hadn't interfered, if he hadn't stumbled around, you know, he got away with things that would have killed any other candidate.
Oh, yeah.
We know all this, and for whatever reason, the GOP just copped the abuse and went up. Like, if they'd had any balls or heart at any point, they would have stopped him too. It was just one of those freaks of history.
Why do you think YouTube psychics reading on Donald Trump are so fucking popular right now? Like it's huge. Like it's a huge like big explosion that happened on YouTube. So what do you think's going on?
Yeah, it's a fascinating phenomenon. We are part of this phenomenon, you know, and I think it's because people are starving for another way of processing this experience.
Yeah.
You know, so if you look at the audience, and we share a lot of viewers, obviously, all of us, you know. And I think we're very blessed by and large with our viewers.
Agreed.
Too. But they're not just normal people who would follow psychics and tarot readers even.
Right.
You know, it's the political dimension that is interesting for people. And it's partly counselling.
Yeah.
It's partly therapy. It's partly stand-up. It's all that stuff because people are trying to cope with this assault, and it is an assault.
You have no idea how bad it is over here. I can't imagine how it is being in Australia and watching what's happening over here, because I, as an American, and I've always been a politically minded American, to be immersed in this, you have no idea.
It's mad, isn't it? It is totally mad. It is freaking people out. There is no doubt. And so it's really, really important. And that's another role I think we have, speaking of therapists. Not pretending we're professional therapists,
right,
but simply we all in our own way say it's really important to calm down and step back and look down at it and see the bigger picture, because if it's in your face straight up every day, it is terrifying what is going on, the threat to democracy and all of that.
Fully.
But for me, I also needed this channel because I wouldn't have had any friends left in Australia. Like, I've got a couple of close mates and we follow it intensely. A couple of lawyers and a couple of friends. But everyone else goes, I just don't want to know any more about Trump. And I go, oh, fuck.
No, it's bad. Trump fatigue is real.
To the extent that I've taken my eye right off the ball of Australian politics because I'm so obsessed with American politics. Like, every day I wake up and see what's going on there. I went to sleep and woke up and found out we had a Pentecostal Prime Minister. Literally in my sleep. I hadn't seen it coming because I'm so out of touch here.
Right.
How the fuck did that happen? Like, we used to laugh at Americans, I'll be frank here, viewers, at the God thing, right? Australians had a very sharp separation of church and state. So Americans would get up at the Grammys and thank God. We'd go, really? I thought it was your bass guitarist, but it was God. Americans would thank God for winning the football.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd say, no, you just got a good fullback. Americans would thank God for getting the presidency, and we'd go, oh, I think you'll find us democracy, love. Like, we just didn't understand that God fetish, and it's crept up. The right-wing Christians have crept in here.
Oh, yeah.
And they're mad as a meat axe,
Do you guys have mandatory voting in Australia, or is it like it is here where anything goes?
No, we have compulsory voting, right? Now, as a radical young thing, I refused to vote for years, and the old thing was, why vote? If votes could change anything, it'd be illegal. We all had the button.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But the good thing about compulsory voting is it gets a high turnout. It's called compulsory, but if you don't vote, nothing really happens. You get a letter in the post 2 weeks later going, you didn't vote, and you're going to give us a reason. And then if you don't do that, you're going to be fined $20.
Wow.
And you ignore that and nothing happens.
And nothing happens.
So I think it's better to have compulsory voting, but not be heavy about it,
Right. Right.
And make it easy for people. We also only vote on Saturdays.
Oh.
So working people, the idea historically was that working people could vote.
Right.
None of Tuesday shit.
Yeah. Please, girl.
People are curious how tarot readings work and people's methods and stuff happens, and I'm sure you do too. You'll be asking about one thing. It's exactly what just happened. And something else comes up. And it's like the universe is saying, you can't ask that question until you know this story.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
like that. And I think people I'm sure, are desperate for us all to just give them an end date.
Yes.
Of when Trump will be gone and stuff. And it doesn't quite work like that.
Right.
You know,
right.
Because it's a living thing.
Yep.
This whole story is a living thing.
Right.
You know.
Right. Agreed. Well, and I think a lot of people have pressed me almost from the get-go. Give me a date. Like, tell me, when is he gone? I just want the date. I don't care what happens. I just want the date. And it's like, I have never seen, in my experience as an intuitive, I have never hardly ever been able to say, well, yes, on January 31st of 2075, XYZ is going to happen at 10:05 a.m. Like, no, it doesn't fucking work that way. It just doesn't. It doesn't. And I think also Trump, I don't think it's set in stone. I don't think very many things are set in stone, quite frankly. I don't think when he leaves is set in stone. I think that he is leaving is set in stone, for sure. I don't think this guy's going to finish it out. But I think there have been windows as we've been going along, and I don't know if you felt like this, but I feel like there have been windows where, okay, he could have gone that day, but it didn't happen. Okay, he could have gone this day, but it didn't happen.
Exactly. You know, and it could be tomorrow afternoon.
Yep.
Or not.
Yep.
You know, because no one knows at this point. There's so many variables. People are making these historic decisions. They're not making decisions. There's so many factors in play. The whole, as much as anything with the midterms, it's turning up. If America turns up, there is one outcome.
Yeah.
If people decide, oh, I can't be bothered, there is another outcome.
Yes. And I mean, I think the third factor, and I don't know if you guys even have this kind of crap over there, but the third factor here is voter suppression, and it's fucking bad.
Bad, really bad. And gerrymandering of voting lines.
Yes.
You know.
I don't know if you do a lot of readings for that generation, but they feel so different to me from other generations. I would say probably 26 and under. They feel different to me.
It's interesting that you say 26 and under. I totally agree, because even the early millennials, they came through with nothing going for them in the sense of what their parents could expect.
Right.
A job for life if you worked hard, and buying a house and really basic stuff. And they can't see that. They work their butts off. I get really angry when people say young people don't work. Sure, I'm sure we all know a few lazy ones, but most of the ones I know work their butts off.
Oh yeah, hustle.
And they're not standing up for what rights and conditions in the workplace. They're just hunkering down. 26 and under, they're coming with a different view. They're looking at, why is the wealth of the country going to 1%? Mm-hmm. That doesn't make sense. Yep. What's wrong with this picture? They are challenging it.
Yep.
In a way that even the 30-somethings aren't.
I know. It's amazing. It's brilliant.
And you have to think it's a particular energy coming through from the other side, don't you? It's like they're coming through en masse.
Yes! I completely agree.
Yes.
I completely agree.
And they're fearless in a way, whereas the millennials are sort of kind of nervous. You know, they've grown up with sort of mass violence around them and being neglected and abused. And the younger ones are going, no, not on my watch. I'm not going to spend 45 years working 80 hours a week for minimum wage. Get fucked.
Yeah, they really are.
I think it's great.
I know. I do too. I absolutely do. Okay. I think I'm good. I think I'm donezo. But thank you so much. Thank you. Special thanks to Jacinta Higgins, our main sponsor for this program.